Gentlemen, my name is Keen Decker, and I'm here to invite you to an evening not like most others. An evening where 4 streamers are pitted up against one another in hopes for fame and fortune. Will one streamer rise to the top and unlock fortunes like no other? Or will they all fall victim to the horrors of Marth's Dungeon? Hello, lady. Whoa! He guesses what? What do you guess?
I guess it's my turn instead of Michael.
Oh, that is true.
Gotcha, Michael.
Do you want to actually? Do you want to give the intro, Josh?
Hello everybody, and welcome to Marth's Dungeon. I don't actually remember the intro because I don't pay attention at this part, but I would like to welcome y'all to the every Friday episodic tabletop RPG. I don't know where I'm going with this. I didn't have a.
No, you're doing great.
Exclamation point Patreon! Exclamation point
Patreon!
Oh yeah, actually.
Patreon!
Exclamation point Patreon in the chat, so that way you know where to send all of your money. Don't worry, Tori sometimes sees some of it.
It's going offshore. Don't worry about it. So we last left off actually with an episode in Reddish, in which we had the Great Val meeting. There was a lot of kind of detective work that needed to happen beforehand. Thank you, Mafia. There was a lot of detective work that needed to happen beforehand to kind of pinpoint who was kind of causing the disruptions inside of Reddish itself. And a little birdie went to go talk to Gortez, and it didn't end very, very well for him. He ended up getting dropped from a rooftop with several cinder blocks around his neck, killing him instantly. And as the meeting kind of progressed, things got a little bit heated in certain areas. Lookdown ended up entering the discussion. Everybody was very, very surprised, but together between Lookdown and Alice, they were able to put Alice's father away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go!
And so here we are kind of in Reddish. Alice, as you kind of, as your father has been taken away to kind of have just a final drink before he gets put away in the slammer, the rain has kind of just started to ease up. And now it is just kind of lightly tapping on the ground. And would you like to do anything?
I'd like to go back inside.
I wonder why. Everything's fine. All right, let me take you inside here.
We just need to see what Lookdown's doing.
Look down.
Why would you worry about that?
No reason.
Oh, okay. Wanted to make sure.
That was the quickest map load up I think I've ever had in my life. You kind of head back in, but there is like a couple of minutes kind of in between Lookdown, where Alice was talking to her father, and what would you like to do? Do you want to do anything in the meantime here?
I'd honestly probably just be sitting on the rug.
Perfect. Everybody in the room is kind of very tense. It is a relatively closed environment, so like things are a little bit claustrophobic. In the sense that like the ceilings are relatively low. It's a little bit hotter in here with all the bodies that were just kind of in here and all the humidity from it being raining outside. And so you can clearly tell that everybody is kind of on edge in a sense, other than Valpero, who's just very casually and comfortably sitting in his chair. Valrizzi kind of stands up and he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna bounce this joint. I hope that we don't have to see one another anytime soon. If you do, you know where to catch me. And he kind of walks up to you, look down, and says, and if I were you, I'd be careful. If you need anything, just holler.
Oh. Okay.
And Valrizzi kind of doesn't take his shoes off, but he like lifts up his pant legs and goes to the water and comes up and meets you kind of like right at the entrance, Alice, as you're about to enter in. Hey.
I don't say anything. I was kind of like, I walk past him, don't say anything, look back, and give a little head nod.
And then he
Continue walking.
yeah, since you kind of don't acknowledge it, he does like the same thing, gives like a little head nod, and then notices that you didn't really see it, and he's like, "Oh well," and just leaves.
Yes. Perfect.
And you kind of arrive on the scene here with Lookdown just sitting on the rug.
I'm just gonna walk up to look down. And then tap him on the shoulder to just leave.
I just kind of look over at you as you tap me on the shoulder.
And then Alice is gonna say, "Come on."
I stand up.
And then Alice just turns around and starts walking.
And as you kind of start walking, you just kind of hear Val Perot just say,
Well, it was lovely to get together with all of you. I hope
Still
that we
walking.
can do it again sometime soon.
and you continue walking.
I grab the body.
Perfect. Take the body with you, you know?
Yeah.
And casually kind of walk outside here. Open up Reddish again. Boom.
I
It's
still
okay,
feel
yeah.
very, very bad for this man.
Who, the worker?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a little bit unfortunate, I'm not gonna lie. Get caught up in all the crossfire.
I guess you could say he was dealt a raw deal.
Chat, what do you think? Give it a 1 to 10.
Come on, that one was good. Don't even. You
I
know,
have
that was
to.
probably the.
I can't say anything either which way. It could be the greatest joke ever, or or pun.
I think that one deserves a prison sentence.
Not again.
That's the
50
highest.
years in the slammer. Azkaban.
Right next to Alice's dad. You have to share a slime.
Oh, jeez.
Top
What a
bunk.
sentence. I'm going to the top bunk too.
He gets in the cell and he just looks at, what are your intentions with my daughter?
Jesus.
So you walk outside here, and what would you like to do? You got a nice ripe dead body in your hands.
No idea.
I was gonna say, so you do have a little bit of time realistically before you kind of need to leave for your next mission. You've been kind of granted to be able to go in and out as you please. The same is kind of offered for Look Down. Nobody else in this city actually gets that luxury, so
Oh,
if you need anything to prepare for when you leave, or if you wish to do anything in the city before you leave, then I guess this is probably the time too.
I would like to go to the break the bed and breakfast. Bed and bread.
no.
Break the bread with the
Yep.
breakfast and bed.
Oh.
And
Oh man, if only looked down knew what a hospital was, I could have brought this guy to the hospital and they could have saved him. Shit.
as you you enter or kind of approach the building, you see that the door is clearly it's swung wide open, and it seems like there's you know, kind of like some stomping of feet, kind of trailing off. It seems like potentially a fight might have ensued here.
What?
Alice is gonna walk through the door and just look around.
So you kind of step in, and you do see, as Lookdown had seen before, the head kind of the break the bread and bed is slouched over on the main desk, and her neck has been slit.
Alice is gonna go behind and start looking through her things.
Looking through her things.
Yeah.
So let's see here. You kind of begin to look through her. Are you looking through like her coat and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. There doesn't seem to be anything too out of the ordinary. She has the money that you kind of gave her. Other than that, there's not a lot of money that's kind of been stashed inside the actual bed and breakfast because they haven't had a lot of business lately. Big surprise. But other than that, everything is kind of neatly tucked away. All the cleaning supplies are, you know, it seems like she's just had a lot of time to kind of take care of the place and just keep maintenance on it when there wasn't anybody to take care of.
Do I see anything like personal, like any personal pictures around?
Not really so much. You do see kind of one large, like, broad painting of the establishment itself. That was probably done a pretty long time ago. It seems like this bed and breakfast has been in the family for at least 20, 25 years.
Aww.
Yeah. And as you kind of look over towards the stairs to your right here, leading up to Lookdown's, or rather the bathroom, you see that there's a couple of towels kind of laid out.
I'm crying. Poor lady. Could I somehow figure out next of kin? Or is it just her?
Figure out who's next in line for the break the bread in bed.
Yeah, or just family.
I'm sure you could probably ask around. There was one person in particular who'd be really helpful with that, and he's kind of dead.
Well, I'm glad he's dead. So
You know, to be fair, yes, it is a good thing.
that's his fault. That's his fault why he's dead.
I was gonna say that it's kind of, let's see, how long was this meeting? I would say typically, I would say it's maybe in and around the time of 10:30 p.m. So quite a few people are kind of sleeping in the town, and so yeah, you kind of have to ask around. Actually, continue kind of just like looking through some of like the files and stuff, and like some of the cabinets. You do open up. And you do find that she does have some, like, identification on her.
I read it. I look at it.
Her name is Marie Tibbeth.
Marie Tibbeth.
Marie Tibbeth.
MT. Mountain.
Mountain. She hit her peak and then she fell off.
Oh no!
What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry, I can't help it. But I was gonna say, so you could kind of ask around some of like the people in town. You could ask like some of the Vols to be able to do some just some grounds work, just to find her family, and do kind of whatever it is that you would want to do for them.
Want to do that?
Perfect.
I want. I want to find where they are.
And
And then make look down, apologize. No, I'm kidding.
say sorry. So, as far as some of your father's men, you do know that a couple of them were headed up to kind of investigate the fire. There are also, at every single point in the day, there are always armed guards at your father's or outside of your father's mansion as well.
I'm gonna go because I don't know the fire. So I'm gonna just go.
Oh,
to
that is
the-
true. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go to the house, the place.
Perfect. You exit, and kind of as you are walking, you do see a couple of your father's men. Just give me a quick kind of observation check. See if you see him here. Yes. Okay. So you do see a couple of your father's men, and as you take a quick peek, you kind of do a double take, because this is just kind of an odd place for them to kind of post up for some reason. And they are indeed posted up. They are impaled in this fence.
What?
Very much so. Dead.
Is the dog here?
The dog. The dog.
I just remembered about the dog. Or I'm
Those
calling it
flying-
the monster. Whatever.
Oh,
was flying
I
and
see what you're
Alice.
saying. I see what you're saying.
Well,
Through your kind of
scary.
very good observation check, you do not see anything kind of in the immediate area. You kind of look on the ground, and it seems that there was indeed kind of a scuffle. There's some kind of just like blood spurts on the road itself. But it seems like whatever did this was more nickel, a more humanoid and smaller kind of individual, regular
I'm
sized.
gonna go home.
We got the run of the place. You know, he's gone.
Oh my god, house party?
House party, let's go. Let's see. Notes. There are. Let me find the boy here.
I love how Look Down is just holding this dead body.
Yep.
And
It's
Alice
perfectly
hasn't said
fine.
anything.
It's all right. Yeah, it's good.
I don't know if Look Down knows the idea of burial, but you know.
As you approach the manor, you find a couple of vills posted up, as well as Bordeaux, your father's kind of right-hand muscle man.
I'm gonna walk up to him and say, there are some dead men down there?
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what that's about. So,
Dead men every day. And you can see that he's not all too bright.
yeah.
Yeah.
Alice is gonna walk to the other guys and just be like, I don't have time for this. And she's gonna say,
Yep.
there are some dead men down there that look like they were killed. So I don't know what to do about that, but also I would like to. You know what? Never mind. Just go deal with the dead men. See if you could figure out anything with that. I'm tired.
Yes, Mrs. Findle. Any indication as to who died?
I didn't look that closely. I just saw it.
Yes, ma'am. We'll investigate right away. Stay safe. And
Ew.
they run to go investigate. Meanwhile, just and Bordeaux kind of sees you look down and he says, "Can I help you?"
I just kind of lift the dead body up.
And he kind of just like scratches his big bald head with one finger and just stares at you.
I was gonna turn to look down. Oh.
You can go.
No, continue.
I just say I don't know what to do with him.
And Bordeaux kind of just once again scratches his head as he's like, well, I guess it's my responsibility to kind of clean it up. He like looks over to you, Alice.
Alice is gonna just say, are you gonna, you wanna bury him? Do you wanna hold a little ceremony? I don't know.
Harry.
Where the body goes in the ground? Bury.
Ground.
Yeah, ground. Bury.
And then he just kind of like puts his hands together to motion like prayer as well. Pray.
I walk over to the grass plot to the south and just start digging a hole.
Oh god. And you see Bordeaux just kind of like walk forward towards you. And as you kind of start to like try to dig out a plot with your bare hands, like Bordeaux puts his hand on your shoulder and says, "No."
Very.
Bury over there. And he kind of points in the direction of the church.
Okay. And I pick the body back up.
Perfect.
I don't
And,
head that way, but I just, you know.
Bordeaux kind of backpedals while keeping an eye on you. Before he has like a very exact position he likes to be in, and then he like kind of maneuvers into it, and then just like looks down, and then looks back over to you.
Whoa, that's my thing. Hello?
You and him are so alike.
What?
It's
I
look
don't
down
see
too.
the similarities. I don't see
I don't see it. I don't get the connection.
Yeah,
The
that's-
dots aren't aligning.
What are you talking about?
And Bordeaux kind of just looks back over to you, Alice, and says, "Anything else, man?"
No, not really. And then Alice is gonna walk back to the soul drop den to see if Val Tempino is still there.
Valentino is still there.
Well, is he?
Let's
Just stop at the dead body.
see, open up a drug den.
And in this episode, Look Down buries a dead body.
Mysteriously, you enter back into the drug den, and it seems like everybody has kind of left for the evening. Alice.
Would Valentino be at the casino? Could I go to the casino?
Yeah, for sure. Go to
I want to
casino.
go to the casino.
Ugh, extra steps.
Yeah.
Grr, Val
Whoa,
Timpino.
we're so fast.
Meow. Valorzy's not here.
Whoa, we're already
You're
there.
not here. Oh god. Wait, I mean you are here, but you're not.
Wait,
This one is
nobody's
not
here?
There you go.
Where's everybody?
You arrive at the casino, and it seems everybody is in a pretty kind of like cheery mood at the casino until you walk in with one of their workers' dead bodies,
Yeah.
and they see you and say, "Oh no."
Will Berry.
Beautiful.
Miss Findle, what happened?
I'm not even too sure of it myself. I just know that this person's dead, and I guess the right thing to do would be to bury them, so he doesn't drag around this dead body forever. I don't know what would get him to drop it.
Did this monster kill him?
It's more complicated than that. It's more like I don't know. You ever feel like, you know, when you're forced to do something that you don't want to do, and it's just like different powers. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
They look at each other.
Alice is just gonna sigh and then like put her hand to her forehead and just go, "Do you have any information on who this person is and their family and stuff like that?"
Yes, Jeffrey. He's been here for a couple of years. He's a bit newer, but very talented. We could be
Was.
sure to.
Sorry.
We could be sure to contact his wife for a proper burial arrangement.
Wait, I got it. We just got to bring him all the way back to the the first place we went to, and we'll be good.
Just drop him off there.
Wish I
Everything
could-
will be fine.
Yeah, I wish I could remember names of places other than Bilms, but here I am.
Oh, Verlake Gardens.
Yeah, Verlake Gardens. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Thanks for the free food, I guess.
Easy.
That's fast
You're
food
welcome.
right there.
Hey, you know this wonderful garden you've maintained on your grandfather's behalf? We're using it as a graveyard now. Fuck you.
Oh, I meant bring him back to life. I mean, I know that problem's been resolved, but you know, my thought was, you know, get the tethers back in there.
Oh yeah, that's true. Could reanimate the body perhaps.
Yeah. Especially the lady in the break the bread and breakfast. Or bake the bread in bed. Just saying.
Her, I would. Her, 100%. I would want her come back. I'm attached to her as a player.
She was great. I was
She
so
was
sad
great.
that she's
Yeah, she
dead.
she put up with a lot.
Glad she didn't put up a fight.
Whoa!
Sorry, I'm extra spicy today.
This woman
I
has
was about to say, Josh is out of pocket tonight.
this woman has so
Oh my
much
God.
disrespect for our name.
And it's only on dead people.
Yeah. Well,
are
they
they
can't
gonna
fight
do
back.
about it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm punching down.
God.
That's called
Can't s-
gravity.
I can't punch up. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Punch Down's one of his cousins.
This worker says, if you wish to wait a minute, I can go grab Val Timpino.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
And he kind of disappears for a bit. So, how did they die?
I have no idea.
And you? Looks over to look down.
he s- killed himself.
Whoa.
Say he killed himself.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's so sad. It seemed like he had a great life. Seemed pretty
Not-
happy.
Of his own mind.
I suppose when people do things of that nature, usually
No will.
you say no will.
Yeah. And look down, starts to get a little shaky.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry that you had to see that. I appreciate you bringing him here. I'm sure she'll take care of him. And as she kind of says this, he arrives back with Val Timpino. And Val Timpino sees you with one of her men in your arms and says, I was wondering where he went. What are you doing him carrying him around town?
Alice is gonna turn. I said just turn.
Oh, okay.
Need to bury.
Well, I'll take care of the funeral arrangements for it. Perhaps just leave him outside for now. I don't want him to stain the carpets.
I go and bring him outside and lead him up against the building
Perfect.
in like a sitting position, but not like a, not trying to scarecrow the guy.
Yeah, not trying to make him look scary, just a nice little resting area for him.
Yeah.
And
Pop him up. He is a thinker.
as you kind of re-enter the building, Val Timpino kind of takes another couple steps towards you and says, I do thank you for bringing him back, though. If there's anything truly I can do for you, let me know.
Who is she saying that to?
Saying it to you, Alice.
Oh.
As she
I'm
kind
just
of
a monster.
yeah, as she kind of knows this person that's with you as a prisoner.
Good. At least someone believes me.
I believe you.
Oh. No, that's different. That's Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
That's terrible.
That's a whole
That's
different
sad.
arena.
I believe you. Yeah. Well, what else are you gonna believe?
Oh shit.
Alice is gonna just say, I'll be in touch. But yeah, he's outside, and then just turn to walk away.
And as you kind of turn to walk away, Val Timpino says, "Oh well, and I do hope that what happened between everyone tonight, I hope that things can change."
I hope so too. And then she's gonna leave.
Perfect. And let's see. Let me open up the map again. So, in true Reddish fashion, Reddish actually never sleeps at night. These shops and stores are kind of always open. There's at least always somebody there. If you want to pick up any supplies, you can definitely do so at this time of night if you really please. I just put that out there just in case you do.
Ooh, where can I go?
There's so many places.
Oh, the buildings are coming back.
Oh god, they're loading.
Oh, the buildings.
It's trying to load the pigs.
What's money?
It's what is money? It's
What
okay.
is money?
Still be loading. I
Will it be
place you
loaded,
there.
though?
So as everything is kind of loading in, I will say, actually, all the titles have to load in first.
I say.
There's a music store, there is a winery, there's a hospital. You have the Reddish Library, as well as Valerie's favorite restaurant, the Risto. There's like some trading posts, smithy. I mean, you kind of name it. If there's anything in particular that you're looking for, it's probably in this city. Probably.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
Alright,
Deb's wet
I
socks, you
want-
know?
There to be 3, so I'm gonna find Valrizzi. I want to go to the Hungry Herbitian.
Okay. Perfect. Let me load up the Hungry Herbitian here.
Yeah.
Right in here.
Is the dead body still on him, or is it just there?
Oh, fuck. Why is it here still? What's going on? Oh, I see, because that was there before.
I was given instructions and I'm following them, damn it.
I'm taking the body with me again. So as you enter the Hungry Herbitian, you do indeed see Valrizzi. He's just kind of getting things prepped again for business to be open. As tomorrow is probably going to be their first day back in quite some time. And as you enter the building, he kind of just like he does like that gesture where he puts his arms up in the air, his like hands. He's like, "Yep, what's going on?"
Want to go on a shopping trip?
What?
Come on, let's go. And then Alice is just gonna walk outside.
And like he's like so taken back that he was like gonna have a response to it, but like he's just like yeah, absolutely. I'm coming. I love fishing. I mean,
Well, he's gonna be
not
disappointed.
fishing. I love fishing. Man, I love fishing.
Man, I love it.
I love fishing.
Of course I come
Dudes, I
fast.
love
I got
fishing.
fish to catch.
Oh no. Fellersy's so happy. Oh my god. Somebody actually wants
wish-
to hang out with him.
I wish Lookdown could have reactions or have understanding of things, because I wish he could be as shocked as I was when that happened.
Oh? Yeah, his only response was, man, I love fishing.
Man, I love fishing.
And we're gonna go to the winery. We're gonna hit everything.
Going to the winery. Oh, damn. A full night out of the town. Let's go.
And then leave it.
I'm leaving him with a bill.
Yeah.
So are you headed to the winery first?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It's the Maxwell effect. You start kind of heading out in front of Valrizzi, and he's like trying to catch up to you. And he's like, "Whoa! What is I mean, I'm always down to celebrate. Whereabouts we headed?"
Oh my god. Who's that?
What's happening?
They look just like us. Oh my god.
The mirror images. Evelyn Rex,
I
they're
was just
still
gonna
dead.
say it's not really a celebration. I have to go out again. But and then not finish your sentence and walk in the winery.
Perfect. So you kind of walk into the winery, and Valrizzi, as he kind of enters the door, he's like, "Well, I mean, if you ever needed some assistance, I
Are
know
you
it's a
saying that
long
because
shot.
You want to leave?
Yes and no. I may have had a turn in opinion about you."
Alice rolls her eyes.
I mean, not that it was that bad to begin with, but yeah, I think that you're the real deal. And surely I do want to see the outside. I wish I knew what was out there. I kind of want to see it for myself.
I brought up leaving the city for many of the reddish inhabitants, and I feel like I made a fool of myself inside the meeting. I thought it was just a little different.
It wasn't lies what I told.
No, yeah.
But it also isn't the whole truth. And then she's gonna walk in.
Perfect. And it kind of piques Valrizzi's interest. And you enter the tiny winery.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they actually, since everybody is kind of kept inside the city itself, they only have one wine. Let's see.
What?
Let me find. I know. Blasphemy, truly.
It's a weird winery.
Tends to happen when you kind of get isolated to one specific spot. Let's see.
Not
where
an excuse.
is- True. I have to find reddish. There it is. So they have a bottle of Fluvian red wine. It is a very, very bitter grape. And it is 45 golds for a bottle of it. It is $12 for a 12 gold for a glass.
$12.
12 buckaroos.
I'm gonna buy 2 bottles for myself, and then ask Rizzy if he wants a bottle.
Oh, the Fluvian red. I'm more of a sweet tooth kind of guy.
He says as he kind of like has some candy in his pocket.
Next
I'm
to
all
what
right.
The necklace was.
They were after my candy.
That's what Valpara was actually going for, but accidentally dropped the locket in there.
Whoopsie.
Depending on-
Wanted candy. Alice is just gonna get 2 bottles, and then that's it. We're doing quick shopping.
Quick little shoppings.
Quick little in and outs.
These guys have thoroughly investigated the bodies, taken them kind of off the spikes, and left. And where else would you go? So you have, like a music store.
The music store.
Got a music store. Okay.
I want to go to the music store.
This is
Cool.
And this is actually very nice to just kind of be out for a little bit, in the fact that, like, usually when you're in the city itself, you're always on business, like, no matter what. So finally just having a little bit of breathing room before you do something is so nice. You head into Reverb.
Also,
And-
just as an aside, Lookdown has been kind of mindlessly reaching for, or like, touching like his pendant, like through his shirt every once in a while.
Oh, just to make sure it's there.
Yeah.
And, like, as you guys are kind of, like, walking from place to place, like, Valrizzi is kind of just, like, eyeballing you a little bit, look down. And just kind of, like, looking at your overall demeanor, and then kind of, like, looking back forward. And, you enter the music store, and inside the music
I think
store...
nothing of it.
Inside the music store itself, they have a couple of instruments. They have a piano, which is 400 gold. They have a udelim, which is an instrument with a reed that you blow through, and it vibrates 8 strings in front of you that are all pitched. And then there is a vru, which is
What is that?
It is a small instrument you blow through that sounds like a siren. It's common amongst police. And then a Koltvang drum, which is a thick-skinned drum that delivers a crisp pop when it's hit. Often used in
Kind of like a
military.
snare.
Yep.
Ah, okay. Hey, with your description, I was able to figure it out.
Alice is just gonna be looking around, picking up things, but also motioning to look down that he can also play with things.
Oh. I walk over to the drum and I just kind of hit it. Like, I don't, not rough with it, but I just kind of smack it.
You're kind of surprised with just like when you kind of softly tap something, it's not as soft as like a normal person would just be like boop. It is more of like a plop. And so when you kind of put your hand right down on this drum, it makes kind of like a very surprising pop to it. And it's like very, very tight and very, very quick. It has just like a very nice resonating sound to it. Nice little pop.
I continue to walk around and just kind of mess with random things.
Perfect. So as you kind of go around the store, once again, you do have like a piano, the ukulele, which is the one that you blow through, with the strings on it, a vruvru, which is a fairy made instrument.
For some reason, I hate it. Can't tell why.
It is very colorful.
You feel your mind slipping when you look at it.
No!
And Val Rizzi goes to like kind of sit down at the piano. He's like,
You know, I was taught a couple of tunes when I was younger.
Oh. That's
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
said.
Here's one right here. It's called Bloodfall and Reddish.
and he starts playing the song that's playing right now.
Perfect.
Wow, so immersive.
I'm
actually
so
walk-
friggin' immersed right now.
so immersed. I walk over as he plays the piano and just kind of stand there.
You wanna back me up on some of the drums there, El Doozy?
Drums.
Yeah, the thing that you were hitting before there. If you kind of hit it to have you ever played an instrument before?
I just kind of look at the piano, assuming that's what he's talking about, because I don't think I've heard the term instrument before. So,
It's
Oh yeah, go ahead.
look down's gonna take a chance and say, yes.
Oh,
and then
perfect,
point
perfect.
at the piano.
So every time I hit dong right there, you just hit it right on the drum. Just that's what we call the beat.
I grab the drum and I wait.
And then he goes, dang. He
I
like
hit the
really
drum.
he emphasizes it like heavily because he notices that you're not like really playing it, so he's like, boom.
And then I hit the drum. Except it's like a half a second off, so it's
And the person inside the music store who has it kind of open, just kind of like is trying to respectfully watch from a distance, but is also like, oh my god, I've never seen Val's act like this before. It was a very odd behavior. And so he just kind of like very politely smiles.
What do you think? We ready for the theater?
I kind of start just hitting on the drum.
Alice is gonna look over to the store owner and just like mouth out the words like we're gonna take the drum, and then walk over to pay for it.
Perfect. You kind of walk over and place it is 100 gold in their hand. And he says, much appreciated, much appreciated.
Alice is gonna walk towards the door and be like, "Well, if you band kids are finished, we can go to the next stop."
Yeah, no problem. I was just getting to the finale and he dun dun dun. Thanks. And he kind of just hops off.
Look down, follows with it with like half off.
Don't bop, don't bop.
He's got to wait to hear the note to know to hit the drum, so it's always off by like a half a step.
Perfect. And you
Does Valrizzi do a good job though? Like, is it a really good?
He's
performance?
decent. He's not great, but he's definitely he knows like that kind of one song for sure. It is very typical of sometimes people that play the piano. They're like, bro, listen, I'm not a great piano player, but I did learn this one song. Check it out.
Gotcha.
Now here's Wonderwall.
Yeah, here's
Yeah, I was
Wonderwall.
about to say Wonderwall. Sorry. When they go to leave, I actually sit at the piano for a quick second and see if I can play the song that Alice taught me back in films.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Give me. Actually, just give me a give me a flat 20, and then add 2 to it, for me.
Wow, that's an 18.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So, as you kind of start to lay your fingers on the piano, you're like, oh yeah, I kind of remember how I was taught like this kind of one thing from Alice, and you kind of sit down and start playing. Much to like kind of Valrizzi's surprise, he's like, "Holy shit, he does play!" I should have been on the drums there.
And I'm a great teacher.
Well, I guess so.
Look down when he finishes, smiles, and gets up.
I was gonna say, oh, and bring the drum that's yours.
Oh. I go and grab the drum.
Perfect. You pick up the drum.
Thank you. And on this walk, Look Down doesn't reach for his pendant.
Aww. And as you kind of exit Reverb, Valrizzi kind of just like looks over to you, Alice, and says,
So do you think your dad actually did it?
Alice is gonna. What I'm seeing is that she's mid walking and then stops, and her back is kind of to him, and she's just gonna turn around and say, that's a tricky question.
Yeah, I get that. It can't be easy to try to put your old man away.
Actually, it was really easy. All I had to do was just say like that he did it, and then there he goes to jail.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I just
Used his own
Not-
authority against him.
Not wrong.
it's just the thought of doing something like that to my parents. I don't know. Gives me the willies.
Okay. And Alice is gonna keep walking.
perfect. And where would you like to go? So, you got like a department store, you got a bakery, art store, you got like a little food supply area, lots of restaurants, a barber's shop, a bookstore. Okay.
Oh no! Wait.
Oh,
You
no.
got him.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh,
we got
man.
him.
I mean, I got the suit.
You kind of start heading through town and just like looking at all the various areas. And as you kind of do, I mean, you've walked through Reddish hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, Alice. So you know the area very, very well. But just kind of to see it from an outsider's perspective of like, oh, there's actually a lot of like kind of cool stores here. You do kind of come across a barber, the Barbaric Barbary.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So, my initial plan was to go to the bookstore and get like a little baby book for look down.
Okay.
But then, with noticing the barber shop right there, I look back at look down in his little suit and I go,
Look down, still smiling.
And then Alice is gonna say, Rizzy, I think this makeover needs to be full force. And then just tap look down on the shoulder and say, come on. And then she's just excitedly walking. Not super excited to where it's just like, oh my god, let's go. Come on guys, like we gotta go in there. Like just excited to where it's like, oh, like you can tell like Alice is excited.
Aw, that's great. And
It's probably a weird little thing too.
Yeah.
Probably haven't seen this before.
yeah, it makes Valrizzi like a little bit uncomfortable but happy at the same time. He's like, wow, that's definitely different. It's like seeing Mandy from Grim Adventures.
Adventures of Billy
Yeah, finally smile and everybody's like, ah!
Oh my god, in that one episode where she was singing over the rainbow.
Yes.
Oh my god, a core memory.
A very core memory.
You head over to the Barbaric Barbary, and Valrizzi kind of like pats you on the back, and he's like,
Don't worry, we'll get you looking as crisp and clean as me in a matter of no time.
Alice is gonna say not likely, and then just walk in there
It's
with him.
it's not a bad cut though.
and you kind of head in, and there's this like kind of this very like he's kind of dressed for the part of what you would expect the Barbaric Barbary to look like. Man has like very, very long hair that's braided. He's not wearing a shirt. It just has like a couple of straps just like running up his chest onto his shoulders. He goes, "Oh, welcome." And he like looks over to Valrizzi and he's like, "I can get that one cut in no time." You know, it's just
Yes, please get that one cut.
not me.
And I also have this one. No, both of them.
Listen, I happen to be flat out broke. I can't pay for it. It's so
I
tragic.
got you.
I would rather not.
No, don't even worry about it.
And he's like,
I mean, before you do you have any like examples of people that you've worked on? I just wanna make sure that it's good enough for the hair. I have a special somebody who kind of works on my hair every time, and just want to make sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And he kind of like sits Valrizzi down as well as looked at. And he's gonna start with Valrizzi, and he kind of just like looks at him from every angle, and he's like, and he just takes like a pair of scissors and just kind of snips off one singular hair in his on his forehead that's just a little bit too long. And he's like, "You're good," and pats him on the back.
Alice is gonna start clapping.
Wow, you really know your work.
Yep.
Jeez, I've never looked this good in my life.
And he comes over to you, look down, and places both hands on your shoulder just as like a gunk. And he's like, "You, however, are gonna need some work."
Before Alice even sees this man like pull out scissors, a comb, she's gonna walk right next to look down and say, "So, you're gonna get a haircut today.
Okay.
Do you want long or do you want short?"
I don't know.
Alice is gonna tell the barber to like hold his hair back and up to where it looks short, where it gives the illusion.
And as the barber kind of lifts up the back of his hair, there is several knots just throughout the back of his hair, as it's never been combed, it's never been brushed, and it is just extremely knotted up, kind of throughout the entirety of his hair. It would probably have to take quite a bit off for it to kind of be normal again.
Alice is gonna say, "Okay, so you're gonna get it short, but then it can grow out."
Okay.
Yes, because I don't think anybody can get out those knots.
Look down, just kind of confused, looking around. Like he's like looking at you, but clearly nothing is registering.
Good.
Internal panic ensues. And he says, "Oh, don't worry. This is the barbaric barbery, not the barbaric butchery. Your hair will look fine in no time."
Alice is gonna say, "Okay, he want short. We'll get it short, but I want him to keep bangs to where his hair still flows in front of his face."
Perfect. And he starts to kind of just like work at your hair very slowly but surely, taking off kind of the excess dead hair first, and just kind of making sure everything looks pretty good before he proceeds forward. And he does leave kind of like the bangs in your hair, but as he goes to like try to cut like in and around the area of like behind your ears, he notices that there's an eye patch kind of just just over your eye, and he says, "Well, I'm gonna need to take this off."
Alice is gonna say no because she doesn't know what's under there, and she's like, if Look Down has an eye patch, she does not want to know why he has an eye patch when he has been walking in filth this entire time, but yet he has an eye patch.
I mean,
So
it's still
Alice is just
relatively
gonna
new.
say, "I'll pay extra if you could just cut around it, just leave it."
I could work it into the cut. And he kind of just starts cutting just around the string Look Down, and just kind of like
I just
giving it a
close
little-
my eyes.
giving it a little fade. Yeah, this feels great, by the way. This feels like man, yeah, just having somebody just probably playing with your hair whatsoever after nothing really touching your head in your life probably feels pretty amazing.
Look, as Josh, it feels amazing every single time, so I can only imagine.
And it takes a while, and Valrizzi kind of in the meantime is just kind of like sitting down, and he sees like some shoe polisher. He's like, "Oh, I don't mind if I do." And he starts kind of just like polishing his own shoes and making them like sparkle. He's like, "I can see you in the reflection," and he kind of like points his like foot towards you. Look down.
I just look at his shoe, I guess.
And as you kind of look at your his shoe, you see your own face and in the reflection of it, and yeah, your hair, a lot of it's kind of been taken off at this point, and it's starting to really actually just look very good. Probably feels very good too. And he ends up kind of finishing things up, and and like pats you on the back, gives you like one of those dad pats. The hoot. He says, "I'd say that one went pretty well. What do you think?"
Alice starts clapping again.
I just kind of, I guess bewildered would be the word. I just kind of look in the, like in the reflection, just kind of stunned. Best way I can describe it. Unsure what to say.
Unsure how to process it necessarily.
Yeah, it's all new.
And Serviad kind of just like nods his head and he's like, "Yeah, champ, that's not bad. I can actually see your face."
Oh, shoot, no, that's probably not a good thing.
Yeah, kind of as he's like cutting as well, he definitely came across quite a few kind of just like cuts and nasty scars, indentations, bits and pieces of metal, like.
Oh man, that's true. I probably haven't seen.
Sorry.
Whoopsie!
I probably haven't seen like some of the facial stuff because even though I cleaned myself in the well, I probably didn't see all of it. So
Right. Yeah, some of that's like deep down.
look down, just kind of like runs his hands over like some of the scars and the metal.
And Valrizzi kind of like stands up and he says,
Let me treat you on this one.
and he goes to kind of pay the man for the cuts.
Alice is gonna say, "Remember the extra."
Yeah. Valrizzi always gives extra.
And he kind of like winks to the guy and he's like,
Well, he's right. He is quite a kind man around these parts.
You see, I wasn't lying.
I mean, look down already knew that.
and Valrizzi kind of is going to like step out and he says,
Well, I think I've had enough fun for the evening. I suppose I'll catch you two around, huh?
Alice isn't gonna look at him. Like she's still gonna be like looking at look down. But she's gonna say, I don't know what time.
Look down just says, "Come with 3."
I want to, but I don't want to get you two in trouble. Word'll spread quick that Valrizzi split town, and I probably won't be allowed back, I guess. Not that I really want to stay here, but I do worry about the people that are here. All these sweet city folk just working hard to make ends meet. I'm kind of scared to think what it's like without, I don't know, anybody looking out for them.
Look down. Looks down, and then looks up at Valrizzi and says, "Read."
"What did he say?"
Free.
Oh. And he kind of just like looks down at the ground and kind of just like bites his lip a little bit,
And he says, I want that more than anything, but I'm not the only one I have to think about, unfortunately. There's my girls, there's my men, everybody in town here. Man, God, I would give anything to just leave this place, even just for a day, but I'm just worried, I guess.
Look down, looks like over his shoulder, like he's looking at somebody, and then looks back at Varzi and says, "Made choice. Mean free."
Yeah. What do you think, Findle?
Inside the walls, outside the walls, it's changing, Rizzy.
Oh?
I don't know if it's changing for the better or for worse. And there are things here that I need to take care of.
Well, I'll tell you what. You two, head outside the walls. Get what you need to do done. Perhaps maybe the vows were right. Perhaps maybe it's not time for me to leave just yet. After all, someone needs to be looking after the city. If you two are gone. I don't trust either one of those vows as far as I can throw them, which, as you can tell, is not that much.
Look down thinks he could throw them pretty far.
And he kind of just like smiles and says,
But, you know, if things do change a little bit, circumstances, I would like to join you two one day.
I don't know what those circumstances would be.
Yeah, a lot would have to change in Reddish. I can't just kind of up and make a selection for the people of Reddish to leave. It would have to be a unanimous decision between the vows. I don't know what your father has planned, but I don't see it happening anytime soon.
You know, you kind of fought to go outside the walls. For everybody here to go outside the walls.
Sure.
But you don't know what it's like out there. And for you to continue to fight to see outside the walls but not know what's out there, that's kind of blind, acting blind in a way.
Yeah, that's pretty enlightening. You know what? You convinced me. He turns around and he says, "I'll be right back." And he runs over to his house.
It wasn't that hard to convince. I was like, I'll just say like 3 things.
That's a very fair point, to be honest.
Hey, you're right, actually. Let me go back. I'll remember my travel case, my toiletries.
He comes back in 5 minutes because he's already had his shit packed this whole time.
yeah, right. And yeah, he kind of does come back after a couple of minutes, with a decent amount of stuff just kind of on him, and not just like kind of normal adventuring gear. Like you would kind of expect like the bare essentials, and just like weaponry, enough rations to kind of keep yourself nice and well fed for a little bit until you can come across some food. He does have all of that, but he also like has like a lot of extra pairs of clothing just kind of like right on his shoulder, just like lumped right over it.
All right, I'm good to go.
What were the other stores, really quick, that were around?
So you have bookstore. There's an accessories store. They have like jewelry and stuff. There is more restaurants. There is also, like a trading post. The guy got knocked out though, so nobody's kind of operating it at the moment. And then yeah, just
Yeah.
like military stuff.
A little baby gets knocked out like a day or two ago. Still isn't back at work.
That's true.
Still not able to go back to
Right.
work. What a loser. I guess he really doesn't care about his family.
And doesn't care about his business. I guess we could just go steal their shit.
Whoa.
sorry. Take their stuff and leave money on the desk.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, there's Rotten Wren's storage supplies and more as well. I can actually just tell
Wow.
you what they have really quickly. Let's see.
Rotten Wrens.
Rotten Wren's!
Welcome down to Rotten Range
Where-
Supplies and More. Where the more is your good, your guess is as good as yours.
Let's see.
More means more in store.
I'm Rotten Wren. That's Mama Wren. Wren Jr. and
Mama
Rotten
Wren.
J. We're family.
There, my nephew.
Business. We call that one RJ. This one's Baby Wren.
They might expand it into R&R.
That's RR, RJ, BJ. Baby
So-
Junior, because we ran out of Ren.
At Rotten Wren's storage supplies and more, they have a lot of like just materials. They have like stone, steel, iron, copper, all that stuff. Leather, cloth, selenium soul powder, fertilizer, but
my
stuff
God.
like that. And
We got those plants. Are we gonna need that fertilizer?
yeah, maybe. I mean, honestly,
I don't know how herbaceous work, but do they need cow poop?
I mean, they do need good soil to kind of. Well, some do and some don't. Typically speaking, the worse situation that they're in, the more they're respected for when they grow up out of it.
Right. What happens if we have like the perfect child though? Like, what if we just have like the best?
Nobody
conditions?
respects it. It's one of
Well, I
those
mean-
hungry Herbetian ladies.
Ooh, is that a game? Hungry Herbaceans?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Hungry herbaceans.
It's an adult game.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Whoa!
Like a drinking game. The hungry herbaceans. The thirsty herbaceans.
I guess so. We got the Valentine's Day gift already. Okay.
Oh God. So yeah, in like the Liarning bookstore, you would probably actually let me see. I think you have like maybe a spell or two, and then just some like historical books. In the Lover's Mark, they already visited, I believe, and Look Down got something from it.
Oh, was that where I got the ring from?
Yeah.
Yes, the Crest of Precision.
Yes.
Yeah.
That Alice now has.
Yes. No, I think that's it. I think be like, all right.
So wait, did we stop at the anywhere else, or did we just stop there?
Stop exactly where? Sorry.
Oh no, like so. Did we go to any of those other places, or
Or are you good to head out? You mean?
are we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you kind of begin to head out, and Valrizy is kind of just like trying to keep himself like to the walls so nobody sees him like kind of leaving, because he knows like it's only going to take one or two people to spot him for news to be able to kind of spread throughout town that he's leaving. And once you kind of reach the soldiers' quarters here, Valrizy's like,
Okay, guys. I think you're gonna have to put up a distraction for me for me to be able to get out.
Alice is gonna turn around and say, "We could put you in a sack, and Look Down could probably carry you."
Look down. Thinks you can carry him.
Oh god. You know what? He's gonna be like,
That's actually not a bad idea.
and he's gonna run over to Rotten Rents. He's gonna buy himself a.
Yeah. The man himself.
He's gonna buy a
Six.
double XL knapsack.
Knapsacks, bird knapsacks. Any sack you're looking for, we got it. Out here, on rents.
More sacks that can fit in this sentence. And he kind of just hands it off to you. Look down. He says,
All right, Aldoozy, do be careful, because I just got a cut.
Okay. What am I doing?
So I'm gonna step inside this sack, and you're gonna bring it above me, tie it off a little bit, and then you're gonna carry me outside the city. If you don't mind doing it with two hands.
She's just gonna get his head and just shove him in the bag.
Oh my God! Watch what you.
and you shove him like right in the bag, and it goes right
And
up
then
over his
just
head.
tie it, and then just look down and say, "Okay, now you have to carry him while we leave."
I pick up the sack and begin to carry the boy, I guess.
Just give me like a general strength check for while you're carrying him here.
Alrighty. Also, I'd just like to point out that the first time using my menu rolling tray, I rolled a 16, so, I think it's already
Let's
working.
go.
I got a 10.
All right, perfect. So you are kind of entering the gates here, and Troxy Sparks kind of sees you come along and says,
Do you need outside the walls?
Yep, duty calls.
Safe travels, Findle.
and the
Alice
gates
Phoebe.
the gates open up for you, and as you kind of start walking, look down from this kind of just you're not carrying kind of Val Rizzi with like both your hands like kind of cupped around it. You kind of have it like over your shoulder, and
Yep.
you very briefly drop him, and they just hear a thud with a and
Cough.
oh good, okay. Let's see. Let me put an observation check on Troxy here.
Are we gonna question what the Findle's doing?
Nope. So she rolls an 18 altogether. She kind of hears the thud and the grunt, and she just kind of like tightens up a little bit, and she's like, "Yeah, duty does call, doesn't it? Be safe out there. Whoever's in there, I guess they deserve it." She kind of like mumbles herself.
Perfect.
Why would you even take a chance of pointing that out? Alice would kill you.
Wonderful.
And you exit the city, and we are going to join up with the rest of the party here. We enter the basement.
I'm not gonna lie, my thought was, couldn't they just say Alice needed Val Rizzi, and like that could have been like the excuse to get him out of the city? Because,
I mean,
like, who's gonna question?
they probably wouldn't question, but once it gets to like the vowels, they'd be like, didn't we just talk about this?
Fair. I mean, they're still gonna talk about it when he goes missing, but
That is true.
Max!
Very true. Maxwell!
Mix!
It's me, baby! Ah! I got a big hole in my stomach. It hurts real bad.
resistance is pain. Woo!
So we find ourselves, after a while, back inside the basement. And you all kind of start to get ready to kind of just, like, take a long rest. But Marth kind of just seems a little bit uppity and, like, kind of distressed. And he's like,
I don't think that we should probably do this here.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. There's just been a lot of danger, a lot of... and he kind of just, like, looks at the dead seizure right in front of him. A lot of traps, a lot of tricks. We don't really know what's down here. That being said, also, we don't probably know how long the effects of this elixir lasts. I would hope that it lasts a while, but... theoretically, I would like to just take care of this fog and revisit this maybe in a little while. Sorry, go ahead.
We can head topside. I can mix up a few more of these potions as well if need be.
Sure. I think that the longer we stay in one place, the more risk we kind of set up for ourselves. I think if we travel a little bit, we should set down and try to explore further.
You mean with the castle?
Yeah. I think it'd probably be a safe idea. I think the longer that we stay here, Mechalite will have an easier time tracking us down. We might be in more danger.
I would agree with that too. I feel like for the duration of the ceasefire, it would be good to be nearby to the King's Coven. At least so, if things do go wrong, they have the relative safety of the castle to retreat to.
And Marth kind of like looks over to Tim Tam, and he kind of like says, "Tim Tam, how about do we how do we shut this fog off?" And he's just like deactivated right over at the door.
Give me a second. Piven walks over to Tim Tam.
Perfect. You walk over to Tim Tam, and he kind of just like reanimates and shakes a little bit, and says, "Oh, what a wonderful nap that was."
Tim Tam, if you wouldn't mind answering a question for me.
Yes. What can I do for you, young master?
You see this fog around us, yes? What might we, deactivate it or shut it down?
Oh, well, it's rather simple. My lady's done it quite a few times. I can show you.
And he kind of just like starts hopping down the stairs, and he says,
There's a rather large lever that once you pull it up, in her studies area, that it closes the vents.
Ah, okay. I believe I saw that on my way through. And kind of looks down over it, or looks over at Piven. Marth!
Marth transforms into Pivot. No, it was me.
Max also transforms into Piven.
Watch this.
Oops, all pivot.
And he like nods and says thank you, and looks over to Thames and he says, "What do you think?"
Mr. Weason.
Mr. Weason season. I think Michael might be away for just a little bit, perhaps.
He's been away for like a while
Oh no, I'm Weason.
Marth kind of looks over to you, Thames, and says, "Are you ready to head out?"
I suppose we'll never have a better time.
What was that last bit you said?
Oh, he said we'll never have a better time. So yeah.
And Marth kind of like just looks at Max very briefly and says,
Max, we'll get you to lay down upstairs and get comfortable. And we should be able to heal you up in no time.
I can attend to you once we get upstairs.
Thank you, I appreciate
All
that.
of you, for that matter.
Yeah, Martha's like looking just very shaky as he's like standing.
Though there's not much I can do until the rot clears up.
Right.
Come, we'll shut down the damn fence.
Doom, 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 doom. And you head back up stairs here, past the dead seizure rates, and into. Oh, let me bring you up.
Oh no, I ruined everything.
You ruined it. You done it. You ruined it.
You you head back into Soliet's study. And Tim Tam says,
As perceptive as ever, young master. Truly, you are a brilliant successor.
Just doesn't say anything. Throws the damn lever.
you go to throw the lever, and it takes like a little bit of effort, but it then just goes onto the other side, and a vent kind of comes across and slides, cutting off the cables, and closing up the vent in general. And as that happens, you hear just kind of like a shifting, like a from deep down, and this kind of doorway here closes up.
The fog mostly clears up in here, or?
Yeah, the fog kind of slowly starts clearing up. As it's not constantly being fed, it starts to thin out more and more.
I guess I will be preparing more of those potions. Right.
Can Tim Tam come with you, young master?
It kind of like looks over at Marth.
Yeah, you like look past Tim Tam, and Tim Tam turns to like very unexpectedly. And Marth's just like he's like, yeah.
Can I keep him?
Yeah, he can come up. Tim Tam, have you ever been upstairs before?
My lady has never let me leave the confines of this area.
How are we getting him up the ladder?
And Tim Tam like looks at you.
Perhaps you can carry Tim Tam.
Maybe Maxwell can.
Yeah, Maxwell like barely kind of conscious, like looks up, and he's just like, no. Oh God, I think it'll tear me open, finish me off.
Well, it even fits.
Maybe? The ladder hole was quite wide.
And Tim Tam, like, he's just like, he gets a little bit excited just at the fact that he's not instantly being told no this time. And he's like,
Oh, Tim Tam will try as hard as he possibly can. Tim Tam won't cause any trouble.
If you do manage to get through, do not look at the ground. Throughout the entirety of the spiral ramp staircase, it'll...
Tim Tam kind of like gets right behind Piven and says,
Tim Tam won't do anything that Master doesn't do.
Piven's gonna look at Tam and he's like, do you think you could push him up the ladder?
If there's ever like an intense stare that roughly translates into like a mixture of like displeasure and "you owe me," then you get that.
Tim just kind of nods.
Oh no.
And then he will look towards Tim Tam, and then sigh, and then nod ever so slightly.
And Marth just kind of says, "Perfect. Well, I guess I'll lead the way back through." And Max is like kind of pretty close behind him.
Once Piven sees Thames on, he just kind of like, it's like a very slight hand pump. Like, yes!
Tim Tam just gets like a little closer to you, Thames. And does like a little short hop jump.
He's like a sad dog.
He really is. He's basically a dog.
And Thames will be essentially preparing himself for having to fucking deadlift a stone block.
Perfect. You all kind of start to head back through, and I won't make you go through the entirety of this, but as you kind of get to the ladder, Martha's gonna try to assist you on the top here to kind of like grab him as you're pushing him up. But give me a strength check.
Roll to not throw up back.
I'm sorry, friend. I want my giant Moai dog.
What do we got?
Bro, why does RNG just want this to happen? I got a fucking 18 with modifier.
Okay, that's good because Marth only rolled like a 12, so that is very good. Marth kind of slightly assists you on the way up here. And Tim Tam like just very, very barely fits like through this kind of small like pipe ladder, and you kind of just manage to get him up to the very top. And as you kind of travel through the rest of the dungeon area here, for each treasure chest that you kind of come across, Tim Tam just kind of like looks at it and he says, flesh treats.
Later, Tim Tam.
Yes,
Just want to get you back up to the top first.
Perfect.
Whenever Tim like tries to go up after, like he's pretty fucking beat. He'll like stumble a second and say, "Vivid, I am taking that eye."
God.
Oh, just don't kill yourself.
And
Can I use
Again.
Can I use the burlap that I have to like throw over the eye? Like with purposely trying my absolute hardest to not look at it.
just to like obscure it.
Yeah, so that way I can move it.
Yeah, you throw it, you kind of like make your way over to the eye, and you throw it over, kind of obscuring the painting.
Can I pick it up?
You go to pick it up and give me a strength check.
Is this just straight?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. This one is a 17 with mod.
You go to kind of put your hand right around this this eye and give it a massive tug, but it seems like it is perfectly encased inside of it. It seems like it is resisting heavily.
There's probably magic for unsealing this.
Yeah.
Later. But coming back to this pivot,
Okay.
Perfect.
I'll leave the burlap on it.
Yeah, no,
Truly.
definitely a smart idea.
Tim's drive to get literally fucking everything that seems unique is absurd.
It says the person bringing back fucking Temtem through this aisle.
Hey! I like dogs.
And Tim Tam is just a big old statue dog.
So true.
So we're gonna head back up to the moving castle here.
Well, then what the fuck was all that stuff you did to look down?
You're not a dog, you're a prisoner.
Your peepo.
But he does have that dog in him.
Yeah, the werewolf.
Hey, look, it's still a dog, right?
And as you kind of head back up into the castle here, the fog has all but kind of just disappeared. I can't, for some reason, get this one last piece of fog, but no, there it is. Well, there's another one. Yeah, oh, you see
It's
that one?
just
It's
the
gone.
fog stains, you know?
Yeah, the fog stains. They're wretched. You gotta watch out for those. And you kind of make your way back up to the up one terrain here on one level. Ooh! Ooh! Oh, this is down.
It's over.
Okay, I was like, what just happened? You make your way back into the main hall of the castle, and Agatha's kind of just waiting for you at the top of the stairs here to greet you all on your return. And she kind of just like is looking like right through the door down the hallway at everybody and says,
Light bearers, welcome back.
Hello,
Me.
Agatha.
We had visitors.
Visitors?
Visitors from Hellspring.
I'm just gonna look at Marth.
yeah, and Mart's like, oh shit. We had promised Kai Alder to help him out. It might be past the time. He's kind of like looking around to see what time it might be, and it looks like it's pretty late.
Visitors wished to see Marth, but they left things outside the door. Too much to carry.
If you need to go, you can. I have a few things I need to do, and then, well, I've never died before.
Okay.
And Marth kind of looks over to you, Pivot, and says, if you're still willing to help me out with the problem that we have with Kai Alder, you'll still technically be getting sleep. It won't be the nicest sleep of your life, I can guarantee that, but...
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
That foreshadowing, I hope you like your fingernails.
Pivot will kind of slightly nod, and then he'll like shuck off his fucking ruined leather coat and kind of pass it over to Thames. If you wouldn't mind repairing this while I'm out.
I believe all of you have something then.
Yeah, Marth kind of like... It takes off his armor piece and hands it right to you, and it is just... It's destroyed 100 times over. Like, it's looking really bad. And Maxwell, like, very sadly, he, like, removes his coat. He's like, take care of this one, okay?
Of course.
And Pivot's actually going to take out his last piece of Crimson Sullivan and hand it over to Max. And he's going to say, so, at the moment, this won't really do much for you, but once most of the rot has cleared out of your body, it's worked its way out, you can take that and it should help with the pain. If you
Thanks. I appreciate that. That does go away. I've never had that happen before. It's kind of concerning.
It'll take a little bit, like an hour or so, but it should.
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
And he kind of like goes to give you a hug.
He's like, with everything that's been happening, I need to make sure that everybody gets hugs, these days.
Certainly not enough hugs these days. And they'll kind of give Max that like awkward back pat.
And thanks for filling in for me. I really appreciate it. If you need any tips or pointers on how to do anything, I'm your guy. Got any questions?
How do you manage them when they get unruly? So I imagine their minds are rather chaotic now.
Yeah, most of them are pretty bad, honestly. If they start to get rowdy, I try to vamoose from the picture as quickly as possible. You catch me?
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
A gesture for Marth to go.
And Marth kind of like nods and says, "Take care, Maxwell, and get some sleep." And he starts to kind of like head out. And before he kind of goes to the door, he turns to you, Thames, as well as Maxwell, and says, "Definitely get some rest, but before we head out, I think we'll want to find Lookdown wherever he is. If he's not back by the time you wake up, I would say that we should all look for him."
I may wonder where I got off to. Tim Tam, you can kind of stay here if you want to tuck against the wall to my right here. Take a nap.
Oh, Tim Tam does need a nice deserved nap after that long travel.
He just kind of like right up against the wall here, and then just like stands perfectly still. Looks like he blends in completely naturally.
Pivot's just gonna give a thumbs up to Thames.
Like, Tim's looks like he would, like, talk back, but he looks really, really not great right now. Well, like, he looks like he's been through the ringer and then died. So-
And then Pivot will follow Marth.
Perfect. You two head out. Thames, are you going for a long rest first here? Before anything else?
Tim's just gonna try to, like, repair some stuff, then long rest. And then if he has any time left over, work on, like, Pivot's room.
Okay, perfect. I will say you will probably have some free time to be able to work on things here. So these two leave, and yeah, you kind of just walk in, quickly repair everything to the quickest of your ability, which is pretty damn fast. And Maxwell at this time is kind of just like chilling out in his room. He's just like laying flat in his bed, just completely passed out. He has like the bottle of Crimson Sullivan still kind of just in his mouth. He like sipped it down and then passed out on the bed with it.
It has been so long since I've had my armor. I've missed you so.
And Thames, as you kind of leave the armory, or sorry, the smithy, you head back out and you see the Agatha is just kind of prodding the statue and looking at it.
Agatha, please leave Tim alone. That was far too much effort for you to break. Please.
Yes, Lightbearer. Do you need assistance?
No.
Yes, Lightbearer.
And she just goes over to sit on the throne once more, and just looks over her brothers and sisters to make sure that they're all kind of just getting along. And she kind of happily sits back in the throne.
Tim's gonna try to start walking back, and then as he reaches the door, slip a little, catch himself on the wall, and then go back to go lay down.
Oh God, poor guy.
Bro, he came back to life and he's over 300.
Yeah, that is true, and took a little bit of a beating as well.
Yeah.
And so go ahead and gain the effects of a long rest for yourselves, and so as go ahead.
Nothing.
What did you say?
Nothing.
Speak
What the
up.
fuck you say?
What did you say to me? What did you say to me, you little shit?
truth.
I graduated top of my class at the Navy SEAL.
And so you gain the effects of a long rest, and you kind of wake up, Thames, and yet again, right on the back of the, on the shell. Except this time, you wake up to Maxwell, kind of. He's entered your room, and he's just kind of doing. He's kind of just doing a couple squats, right at your door.
Max, why are you in here?
Oh, hey, I just wanted to check on the coat. And, I figured it. Oh, man. 555. I just wanted to get a couple of reps before, we do our stuff for the day.
I can appreciate the hard work, but did you try looking for your coats on the coat rack in the room behind you?
Oh. No, I guess I didn't. I was kind of just waiting for you to get up.
And he goes and he goes out to grab his coat and puts it back on. He goes back around the corner and peeks his head out at you and smiles. He's like, not bad, I have to say. Looking real good.
Great. And then he's gonna try to flip himself.
Perfect. You go to flip yourself and give me just give me just a strength check really quick.
Oh no. A 3?
So you go to kind of rock and back and forth a little bit, and you can't quite get up. It was a very long day yesterday and very tiring. And Max is like, I could could grab the shell for you.
If you're going to assist me, my hand will do just fine.
Yeah. And he kind of walks over to you, and he sees your feet as well, and he's like, so what is it considered? Your feet and your hands, are they the same thing? Are they kind of different parts of the body? He reaches out for he notices that you're not responding right away and just grabs your hand. He's like, yeah, sorry, I'm a little I'm feeling pretty good today.
I'm glad to hear that. Stop asking questions like the one before.
Okay, I suppose learning's not that important.
My people are more human than they are turtle or lizard. They are not foreign. My arms are my arms, my legs are my legs.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense to me. Cool. By the by, we have quite a lot of stuff outside the castle.
Seems like they left some supplies. I went outside and there were quite a few of them leaving town, getting ready to leave to Bilms. It seems that most of them left already. Talked to one of the Dopplums. They said that they left the supplies for us should we kind of want them. Said that there was some steel, but there was a guy who ended up buying it off of them.
That is unfortunate. Well, and then Tim's will try to stand up.
Yeah, Max kind of gives you like a hand to just kind of swing your way up and get up. You get to your feet and tower over him.
Well, I suppose just no use dilly-dallying. I now need to go get the stone.
Yeah, no
David
problem.
has been sleeping behind the throne for too long. And if Agatha's there, well, that'll be far too crowded.
I wouldn't want to be sleeping on any Herbetians.
I can agree with that.
Is there anything that you need from me?
I will need you to help me move Tim Tam into Pivot's room whenever Pivot's room is done.
Yeah, sure, that sounds good.
And we do need to move the thing from Solia's laboratory back up to here. So there's a lot of material. And then, no, I'll save that for Pivot.
All right, well, yep, that sounds good to me. He like kind of just like lets you through to kind of start doing your things as he like starts to stretch out a little bit. He's like, yeah.
If you want something to do, I wouldn't recommend anything too muscle intensive. Maybe just get to running.
Yeah, I can. I'll get right to that. He like kind of just like awkwardly leaves your room, and he like starts doing like a couple of laps around here in like a very Maxwell jog fashion. And like after a couple of laps, like coming through, he gets very sweaty. So he like comes over here, dunks his hair in the water, and then keeps running.
And that's why I'm glad the gates can be opened. Get that water out of here.
Get that Maxwell
But,
exercise in.
Yeah, Tim's will get his stuff and then basically get ready to go make Pivot's room. And if there's a little bit of time left over, he'll like probably start laying the groundwork for the armory. That way they have like a floor. Or not the kind of armory. It's the armory / barracks area.
Perfect.
And then we'll.
Oh, Oonga Boonga!
And then we'll go get the stuff with Maxwell from the laboratory. I think it was the big anvil.
Yeah, the big anvil that was kind of on the elevator there.
Yep.
Perfect.
Because we'll have to move it back to the elevator.
And I will have you make you definitely have enough kind of like time to build his room here. So I am going to unveil that. And you kind of you do have like enough time to kind of just like lay the groundwork for the next area. Reese Fog. Which one is Pibid? Here we go. Pibid's room is complete. Beautiful. And
It's not complete without one thing in there.
that is very true. Gotta get Tim Tam in there. Actually. Yeah, it is kind of like an arduous process to just kind of like get Tim Tam back down here between you and Maxwell. but you do manage to kind of just like slide him right into Pivot's room.
I'll put him in the corner.
Which corner do we want to put him?
Top
Oh,
right.
he's massive. Oh my god. Gunk. Just kind of sits like right up against the corner here.
I'll move the plant out of the way.
Whoop. Oh no. Plant
There we
on
go.
top of the dresser. That looks nice. And save this. We are going to head into the King's Coven. Open. Oops. I don't know why every single time I actually come to the King's Coven, it always does this weird fog of war thing. Like, no matter what, it always just defaults back to having fog of war. There we go. And so as you two kind of walk into the King's Coven, and through Hellspring itself, it seems like once you walked into Hellspring, you saw a lot of the soldiers kind of getting ready to enter the building. They were kind of starting to make their accommodations with things, kind of setting their equipment, and getting it using kind of the little like housing areas for storage for now. And as you kind of enter the Hungry Herbetian, everything is pretty much emptied out except for you see Kai Alder with Penelope and Duck just kind of standing here with a couple of soldiers waiting for you to come in.
But one more time, where did they walk into?
Oh my god, did I say the Hungry Herbetian?
Yes, you did.
Oh my god!
Just had to make sure that was corrected.
Oh god, a slip.
Oh, sorry, Penelope. It's a brothel now. You're scarred for life.
Oh no. And Marth kind of like enters the building and sees Penelope, and he's like, "Oh my god, it wasn't too long, was it? She wasn't too much of a trouble, was she? I apologize. We had something come up, and it required a lot of our attention."
It was not much of a problem. Penelope was fine. She played with some of the other kids. And we're just happy to see you back. We thought you left us with her.
Thank you for the raid.
How hopped up on caffeine is Penelope?
Penelope kind of looks like she has had a morning coffee for sure. And she's kind of like zipping and zopping.
She's like, what? So I got myself caught inside of a treasure chest? And some of the kids came along? Yeah, it was crazy. I thought I was gonna die.
And like Kai Elder's like,
She was fine, I promise you. She just managed to get herself locked inside one of the the clothes chests.
I see. Well, myself and Marth are here to attend to the affected, if that is still possible.
Yes. Duck, would you mind just watching over dear Penelope for a little bit?
and you can see him just the worried expression in his eyes. He's like, I guess so. And Penelope just kind of like runs over to the desk and like is kind of like hopping up and trying to grab, and she's like,
More coffee, coffee, coffee.
"There's no more coffee left."
We've made a little friggin' addict.
Yeah. And Kai Elder like smiles, and he just looks to you guys and says,
What it's like to be young. But if you wish to join me, the remainder of the soldiers are right upstairs. They haven't left their station. They refuse to leave.
Pivotal gesture for Marth to lead the way.
Perfect. So Marth kind of steps forward and says,
Now, Kai Elder, I can't promise that I can save all your men. Sometimes with these things, the success rate is a bit of a variable. It doesn't always work out. Just so you know.
Save as many of them as you can. They are all precious to me. The ones that don't, they wouldn't wish to be this way anyways.
And he leads you upstairs here.
Oh, no.
And
Oh dear lord.
there is a lot of them here. I believe altogether there is 46 of these kind of just mutated Chaos Knights. And Marth is like dead tired, and seeing this many kind of just soldiers lined up, he takes in like a deep breath and says,
We'll meet you back downstairs once we're finished with things here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You too, Fell Goblin. Pivot, right?
Yes. We'll do our best.
Thank you.
Kind of incline his head towards the kite a bit.
and he heads downstairs. And all these Chaos Knights are just kind of looking in your direction. They seem very kind of agitated and confused as to why everything inside their home has kind of been taken, except for the things that are over on their side, which they dared not to touch. And
I did not expect this many.
I didn't expect this many either. But, yeah, it was like this with the encampment, too. This, method is very effective with dealing with, large groups.
Well, nothing but to get right to it.
Yep. And Marth kind of just like cracks his fingers and opens up the Book of Nocturna and begins chanting the sleep spell, which puts them to sleep.
And puts Pippin to sleep.
No, not this time. Marth,
Which
Marth
one
like
are the quirked up substance abusers?
Marth
I
kind
know
of.
there's 4 of them there.
Yeah, there most certainly are here, amongst the crowd. And so as you kind of get put under, you notice, Pivot, that a lot of these people are very much so gone. It seems like they've entirely kind of just lost touch with reality, and they're starting to turn into something that doesn't even resemble anything that closely resembles Nickel at all. Like, these things are so far delved into just chaos in general that they seem to slowly but surely be changing. And when Marth kind of notices these things, he, at the very end of it, kind of reluctantly has to put them down. And I actually... I rolled for this before. There's 46 of these altogether. I rolled for them. You kind of have like a moderate success rate with all of these individuals. And kind of the last group of these knights is a group of 4 who are wholeheartedly chaotic. You kind of are extremely exhausted at this point, and you've done a really good job as to kind of just take Max's advice and dart out of the way when things get kind of like really, really bad with these people. But in this certain instance, they are just so overwhelmingly overbearing, and things just go so so off the rails right off the bat. Doesn't even stick to like kind of how things were supposed to be planned. That they begin to kind of take your toenails and fingernails off, kind of causing you a lot of mental anguish while you're inside of this dream. And as just kind of referring to how it happens in the actual game show episode, you end up finally getting away from these people, and I believe you end up going inside of a police cruiser. and taken away towards where Marth is at the end of the actual mental dungeon. And as you are kind of cruising along in this police vehicle, you see just this small flittering light that slowly but surely kind of grows and glows, gets brighter and brighter, and it seems like you're the only one that can kind of see it.
What color is this light?
It is a very just bright, pure light. So this is it's pretty. I guess you could say it's just a very white light.
Hmm. Why not a black light, huh?
The entire dream blacks out. You can't see anything. It's horrible. But the light kind of slowly starts to calm down. And it speaks to you and says,
Child of the foul angel, it seems you've been through much tribulation as of late.
Pivot kind of gives like a very curt nod.
Exceptional power runs through you, but with that power comes great anguish. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all.
Have you been in danger, fell angel, child?
At times. My friends help me a lot.
Friends, most valuable asset. When one is at their weakest, can always rely on a shoulder to help guide you.
and the voice kind of just once again speaks and says,
I wish to protect you. I wish to see you, to be able to see your mother off. I want you to be able to be guided safely to the sending tower. Please, take this.
and just a small kind of droplet kind of floats down into kind of like the center of your palm, Vivid. And once it hits your palm, it kind of just ripples a little bit into your palm itself and then fades. And you feel it kind of, you feel just a new knowledge start to kind of embed itself in you. And let me send you this. Let me send you this, Master Pibby. Message. And the voice says,
To always keep you safe.
Thank you.
Your friends. Where are they? Where are you?
We're in Batovia at the moment.
Batovia. Batovia's in a terrible state.
We hope to help the people here. Maybe get things to how they used to be.
I see.
That's the idiot, at least.
I wish you luck in your endeavor. But please, do take care of yourself. Should anything happen to you, my heart would break 1,000 times.
I understand.
And the voice, the car starts to slowly kind of come to a stop, and the voice finally just kind of says,
These friends will keep you safe, no doubt, along with your great strengths. Please, take care of yourself and them.
and as the voice kind of says them, Marth kind of opens up the door to the car, and kind of gives you a hand, and the light disappears in the blink of an eye. And Marth like kind of sees you, and sees how kind of hobbled over in pain you are, and the fact that you have no fingernails or toenails, and he's like, "Oh my, what in the creator's name happened to you?"
I don't know. I don't know.
Are you hurt?
I'm missing all of my fingernails, Marth.
Oh yeah, I guess silly question. And he kind of, like, he kind of gives you, like, some ointment to put over it just to, like, make it not burn just ceaselessly.
Though it's too much chaos. Only one of them seemed to have any sort of lucidity, and he was just focused on working out, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of watching over them right now. It seems that they are currently doing some odd drug heist. I think he just stuck a
What?
needle inside of one of his friends. Yeah, it seems like these ones aren't savable.
I don't think so either.
I really do have to thank you. I know that this is a lot, but I knew that you would most certainly be up for it. That should be very valuable. I know I bring Maxwell in, but you know, sometimes it's good to have somebody more personable, I guess. Greet them.
Well, Max is he's a friendly individual, but I don't think he's great at guiding. Let's say.
He is very good at getting out of situations, though, I have to admit. I haven't seen this level. And he kind of, like, looks at you. He's like, this level of pain inflicted on anybody.
Well, can't say it's not deserved, but
And kind of as you get out of the car, Pivot, the car just kind of drives off, and Marth sits in the grass, and he says,
Yeah, this brings back a lot of memories. Some kind of comforting and some kind of troubling, I suppose. Just being back here in general is... it's hard in a sense, but I know it's necessary. I know that
this is
for all the evil and bad that Solyet kind of used this for, I feel like I might be able to make some good out of it.
well, as long as the intent's good, hopefully the outcome is too. Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
Yes.
"Yeah, go ahead."
You went through a lot of this with Celia, yeah.
Yeah,
Trying
50
to break down
years.
your barriers.
She, she stole a lot from me. I was slowly, piece by piece, throughout the years, becoming more and more of a husk, forgetting more and more, remembering less. Every little bit and piece of my life, it just seemed like it was gone. All I knew was these visitors would come, and I would just willingly give my own memories away. But I did have a small moment of lucidity, and I was able to overcome it. It's troubling even today, being awake, knowing that maybe not all my memories are there. Well, I know not all my memories are there. There's large lapses in time. I don't remember specific people. I see certain faces and nod to them. They seem to remember me, but I can't seem to remember them very well. But there are some things that seeing them again and getting the reaffirmation that I really do remember them warmed my heart.
And he kind of, he takes the sword that he's been carrying around and he kind of just places it in his hand and smiles.
I meant to ask about that sword. You seem to have it for a while.
Yeah, this is Didamia. It's a rather old relic from Patovian history. It was given to the first king of Patovia during its first year of independence. It's a incredible piece of history that was more of a decoration, given down by Forfoden himself as a gift. It was a rather momentous occasion. And forever it just collected dust, sat in a display, and really stood as a masterpiece of work for everyone to see. One day, though, when I was in my teens, a girl broke into the castle. She was looking around for various things to bring back home. She came across the sword. I'm actually surprised that she got past my father's men. They're rather observant, but she, just as a young teenager, managed to sneak past all of them, get to this sword, and take it home to her mother. And, that girl's name was Aloretta. Well, I saw her leave the castle with the sword, and I followed her back to her house. She, apparently, not knowing it at the time, brought it back to her mother. Her mother had always wished for Aloretta to marry into royalty, always claimed that her child was royalty, that she was of the most noble blood, and she wanted something to represent it. And so she brought back Didamia to her mother. I had no other choice but to report it to my father, and well, stealing something of this nature is kind of second only to murdering the king in terms of a crime in Patovia. So she was set for quite a bit of trouble. But my father, he always had the most creative ways to punish people. After all, she was just a girl. And he put her in the military. Seeing that she got put in the military, I decided to join the military with her. I just saw this uniqueness in her. She always just had like the brightest smile, always just made me so happy as a kid. I could never rationalize it when I was younger, but I was in love with her. And a lot of memories I don't really remember, but I do remember throughout the years that Aloretta stood as a hope for the Patovian army. I was the prince kind of leading things along and a figurehead, but She was twice the inspiration to the men that I ever could be. An incredible fighter, too. We ended up marrying. Decided to do it before the end of the war. Just in case things happen, you know. And throughout that entire time that she was in the military, her mother never talked to her. Didn't want anything to do with her. But as soon as I asked her to marry me, her mother was trying to be the first one at the wedding. Aloretta denied her, and I always felt bad about that, but it was a quaint, quiet little wedding. And I was just so happy. I had everything I could ever need and desired in the world at my fingertips. Truly, most of our campaign into Mechalite, I don't remember. I mean, ask me about mostly anything, any of these battles, any of the fights that we had, the adventures, the soldiers that we lost. I don't remember most of it truly, but I do remember one night we were on the gates of Halignor, the sure end of victory, so close to closing things out. But we quickly became overwhelmed, and Aloretta lost her life at Solia took her life right in front of me. I was too weak to do anything about it. Overwhelmed by several hundreds of soldiers. We had no chance, Pivot. She took her from me. That I'll never forget. And never forgive.
And he kind of grips his hands around the handle of the sword.
So your villagers just go around and kill people's loved ones, huh?
Yeah, it seems like she will take anything in order to get what she desires. A true monster.
I was being his apprentice for 20 years.
What was that like, Pivot?
Well, basically, every moment of every day I represented her among the castle and in the dungeon. If I went Gray, if Gray wasn't around, the men would bring matters to me to be reported up, and in the day-to-day my duties were experimentation and torture.
That's awful. I never knew that she had you running things to that extent.
It was a lot. Since I was 11.
11? I'm sorry, Pivot. No one should have to live life like that.
It's a lot of faces.
Yeah.
A lot of nightmares.
Some things you wish you could forget.
I'll never forget. Never can. Hell, half the time the experiments she had me run, I don't even know what they were for. Just did I was told.
It's hard to be in that situation. You can't really up and deny her. Hell, I was working for her against myself for 50 years. She had a way of getting what she wanted, no matter what. And
Yeah.
what about Look Down? Was he always there?
As far as I'd heard from the gods, he had been there just as long as you had. So, 30 years before my tenure. I mean, he was always last on the docket. Days, experiments, tests, procedures be run through on the other prisoners, and if anything showed promise, it was moved to him.
And he survived all that time.
Every day. Same blank look.
Sorry, Pivot.
Don't be.
And
I can hit the axe.
And as you say this, the group it kind of finishes up everything in their last area, and Marth kind of like just shakes his head off like a little bit, and says, "All right, they're coming. This is the last group. I'll just need your assistance and yeah."
And what's far more? Stands up.
And you end up having to put all 4 of these Chaos Knights down, as they are not savable at all. And through, throughout the entirety of this long evening of just trying to help these Chaos Knights, you end up saving 23 of them. Which is not bad.
Solid half.
That is pretty good. And Marth, you both kind of wake up, and you do kind of gain the effects of a long rest. It's like getting like a full 8 hours of sleep, but having a nightmare throughout the entirety of it is kind of the best way I can kind of describe it. So you do feel a little bit restless and not super well rested, but you have gained the benefits at the very least.
How familiar.
Just like home.
Oh.
And Marth kind of starts
As
to
Pivot wakes up, he kind of just like looks at his fingernails real quick.
Yeah, you get like this just a weird kind of ghastly feeling that your nails and fingernails aren't there. Just like a quick trick of the mind, and then you start to kind of like pat them, and you realize that, oh yes, indeed, that everything is still kind of there.
Okay.
And Marth like looks at you and he says, "The effects will go away eventually. They yeah. They last for a little bit sometimes, but the more you do it, the more you get used to it, I guess."
It's just another nightmare. Alright. Let's inform Kyalder. We need to move.
And you head back downstairs. And as you do, as you do, Penelope is kind of just like laying down on the carpet, just kind of sleeping, and Kyalder is just kind of waiting for you to come back. And he sees you start to walk down the stairs, and he says,
How did it go?
We were able to save 23 of them. I'm sorry that it wasn't more, but most of them were too far gone. We saved everyone we could. Some of your men, It was a pleasure to get to know them, in a sense. And he kind of like smiles.
Ah, yes. Thank you, Lord Marth, and thank you, Pivot. Oh, before I forget.
And he kind of just like walks up to you and hands you a book, Pivot.
From Yarm, he took some of the books with him and destroyed the rest of them. Didn't want Mechalite getting their filthy hands on them. He said that this one is personally for you.
Please pass on my thanks to him.
Surely.
And
From a medical standpoint, Kyolda, the men that we managed to save, they might feel a little disoriented. Phantom sensations, things of that sort. Ideally, they should go away within a few days, but just do be careful, keep an eye on them, help them along.
I can't imagine the nightmares that they've been under during this time. So I'll reintroduce them to society and try to slowly bring them back into reality. It might be tough at first, but if there's one thing I know, it's how to take care of my own.
Pivot just gives a good nod. Yeah, very well.
I am afraid that we do need to evacuate immediately. And they have come in several times telling us that we need to leave.
Of course, we'll get out of your way then. And the child.
Marth kind of like takes a couple steps down and like, ooh, absorbs her, puts her on top of his shoulders. She kind of just like wakes up and
Child.
sniffles. Rum, num, 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 num. I am Penelope now.
Canelo Marth.
And as kind of Marth starts to head towards the door, he nods to Kai Elder and says,
I wish you the best of luck in Bilms, and thank you again. Your support will be a remarkable help. And a great boon of confidence to the people that are there.
How could they not? The great Kai Elder.
And he kind of just heads over to the door and takes one last look at his father's property and just gives like a bit of a sigh, knowing that he very full well may never see this again, and reluctantly turns and starts to head outdoors to leave. His men kind of, he goes to grab them. They do follow behind him.
Make sure to remove the welcome mat, because Mechalite is not welcome.
They are
Factual.
unwelcome.
Pivot lights it on fire.
Marth kind of looks over to you at Piven and says,
You ready?
Yeah. We need to get going. And fucking find Lookdown where the fuck he went.
Yeah, I hope Thames and Maxwell had some luck.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Ay. Give me 1 second here. Hide player screen. We're going to open up the map. Boom, boom, boom. I forgot to change it over to the Hellspring music I'm throwing. Here we go. Hellspring. Oh. It'll kick in eventually, I believe. Ooh. There we go.
Experience, right?
C4. It's not ruined. You take it back.
Also, the cameras are kind of fucked up now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll see if I can fix that while I'm doing all this stuff here. I don't think
Good. Just letting you know.
All because El Doozy left.
El Doozy.
Oh, doozy.
Let me put Michael at the top, and then maybe it'll work itself out, kind of. I like that. Pivot is now Thames.
I am Thames.
Thames is now Pivot. Or wait, oh god, no, look down. Oh god.
I am now looked down.
I am the one who looks down.
I don't know.
So,
I don't know.
Oh god.
as you leave the King's Coven, you exit outside, and Marth just catches the sight of some Mechalite soldiers as well as General Don, around his home, and he sees it up in flames. And Marth, just very distraught, kind of slides Penelope off of his back.
Pivot, like, the second, like, Marth makes a motion to go towards it, Pivot, like, clamps a hand down on his shoulder.
Yeah, you kind of grab Marth's shoulder, and Marth... Marth is going to continue to just run. He, are you gonna try to grab him to stop him, or are you just gonna put your hand on his shoulder?
Well, the hand on his shoulder is trying to, like, stop him from moving towards it. Like,
Yep.
Marth, it's not worth it.
Marth is going to continue to try to run and break, kind of like your grab on his shoulder.
God damn it. I'm too weak, I can't actually stop him, so...
Better start doing them push-ups with Maxwell.
Marth runs, and I mean books it over to General Don, and kind of grabs him right by his chest plate, and brings him like a little bit off of the ground and just looks him in the eye, and kind of just screams at him and says, "What the hell do you think you're doing? Put it out now! Tell your men to put it out right now!" And General Don is kind of just like shaking, and he says,
It wasn't my order. It was passed down from Lord Eldred. It's his call. It's his demand. I had to burn up the house. He said that...
and he's just kind of like grabbing onto his armor very, very tightly.
He says that... he says that leaving it here will only deter people from coming to Hellspring. I swear to God, so help me God, if you touch one hair on the top of my head, everything that you have worked up until now, he will come down on you like a hammer. I tell you, Petovia will be done for if you hurt me.
And Marth kind of just like gives him a dead stare in the eyes and says, "I won't kill you, General Don. Because the General Don that served these men all these years is already dead. And all that's left is a coward, spineless jellyfish of a coward in armor, parading around, burning down history. No, General Don is dead. You will die at a ripe old age with a big old pot belly, feasting full of the gluttonous sins that you committed. How many people have you killed, General Don? How many houses have you burned down just like this one? Displaced people from their homes, taken everything from them. No, you'll die at a ripe old age in the comfort of your home, surrounded by your family. But I have to wonder, is that gonna be enough for you? As you're dying, will you think about your family and how much they love you? Or will you think just over and over, did I make the right decision? Did you make the right decision, General Don? And Marth kind of just lets go of him and sets him to the ground and takes a step back and kind of just looks at the fire and his house as it's going up in flames and kind of stares right back at General Dunn and says,
This Lord Eldrin, tell him I'm coming for him. Tell him that no matter how many walls he puts up between himself and I have an 8-foot turley-added monster that will break through them with ease like tissue paper. Tell him that no matter how far he runs, I have a well-seasoned mage that can snipe him from the top of a mountain. Tell him that no matter how much armor he wears, I have a man that has been tortured for 50 years, who's gone insane, who will tear through him with claws. Tell him that no matter how hard he looks, that I have a well-trained assassin that hides in the shadows of his every footstep, everywhere he goes. Tell him that he won't be able to escape her grasp, her sight. And tell him that no matter how strong he is, it won't be enough. As Didamia comes down right on his throat with the weight of 1,000 Patovian souls. You tell him that. You shouldn't have messed with Marth, Silmance.
and he turns to leave. And angrily just kind of marches his way back over to you as his childhood home burns to the ground. And that is where we're going to end tonight's episode. Thank you so much for joining tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. I hope you all had a lovely evening. We will be starting back up with kind of another campaign episode this next Friday evening. We are going to be kind of entering, not like a new arc, but new areas, which shall be pretty exciting. And what else? Oh, yes, the Patreon. If you type in !Patreon, we are actually really close to our $200 Patreon goal, in which case we will be doing a Tom Kench maid cosplay, which I'm very much so not looking forward to, but you know what? It's for good cause. Once we reach that $200 goal, we will do that. We also have just gotten, for the first time in the entirety of the channel, our first affiliate, our first partnership with Starforged PCs. So if you ever do find yourself in the need of a PC, shop Starforged PC and use the link in our description here, as well as the links in the panels, and get yourself a nice gosh darn PC. The best in the universe, my boys, my girls. And I just want to thank every single one of the viewers once more for everything that you do. I really appreciate you guys coming to watch the episodes each week in and out. And I'm excited to see where things go from here. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your evenings, my Dungeoneers.